Hello, you guys. Are we live? It's weird.
You can tilt it forward.
Hey, guys. Hey, Lisa. God, my lips are chapped with this white sweatshirt, and then all of this makes me look a little crazy. So if you're seeing this, you guys are okay. Your conversation is fine. Okay. So if you're seeing this, except for the few people who've already commented, you're probably seeing the replay. We go live on Sunday nights at 7 Central Time-ish. We're a little bit late sometimes, like tonight. What is up, guys? We've got lots of people saying hello. Tell us where you're watching from. Tonight's going to be a little special of an episode, and I'll tell you about it here in just a minute. Let's give it about 5 minutes to let everybody get in here. Hey, Ashley, River Rock Homestead. Hello, Jennifer, Jacqueline, Pamela. What is up? Hey, Angela, Harvesting the Bounty. So we are snowed in. The snow started to come down today. It's extremely cold for us. It's extremely cold for anywhere. I don't care where you are.
Gotcha.
It is, hold on, I'll tell you what it is exactly right now. It is currently 18 degrees outside. What is that in Celsius? That's something like -8. I might have that wrong. That's cold. I don't care where you live. You can tell me, oh, it gets to be -40 here. That is very cold. 18 is still cold. So, yeah, our low tomorrow night is 0, which is nuts. But it started snowing today. Absolutely bonkers. So unusual. And this weekend was our weekend that we were having our workshop with Hewn Farm. So what Hewn does is they go do butchering workshops, which they teach them at their farm, and they also will travel to people's farms and do these. And we actually processed one of our Mangalitsa hogs. It's the first hog we've processed of our own. We got our breeding stock when they were 3 months old. It's been almost 3 years ago, and we've been in the process of getting to this point since then. And, oh, you received my book today. That's so awesome, Cass. So we have started now. It's amazing. And what Hewn does is they teach you how to use the entire animal, wasting nothing. It's so cool. I think it's such an incredible way to honor the animals that you're raising. And we have them as well as some of our friends here. We had a few friends here. It's just a really intimate gathering for this workshop. And Ben and Andrea Vinson were here from VW Family Farms. They actually went home as soon as the snow began to accumulate because they needed to get back home to their farm and their kids. But we have a couple of friends here actually just crashing at our house, and we're having a little bit of a sleepover this weekend. Yeah, it's fun. Thank you, Patty, the Tinker's wife. North Star Prep Sitter can't make it tonight. She's taking care of her dad. I definitely understand that. Thanks, Fleetwood Patch. So we have some friends here, and we're going to let them talk to you as well and answer questions. And I'll introduce them to you guys here in a little bit. You probably know some of them, but I figured we would chat for a minute. Okay. Are we doing any live signings? Janie, we have not scheduled any live signings just because, just with everything right now, and just we haven't scheduled any live signings. I might do them a little, maybe once into spring, once everything settles down. But yeah, no, but you can get the book on Amazon, Target, Barnes & Noble, any of your indie bookstores where books are sold. Just ask them. Jessica Soward's The First Time Gardener Growing Vegetables. And it should be released in the United States on March 2nd. My editor actually messaged me today. I don't even have my copy yet. And messaged me today saying it should be in the mail tomorrow, the next day. So like it should be in my mailbox. She got hers. So all of you Aussies got yours before I got mine, which is fine. I bless you to happen, and I'm excited that you do. No, Sarah, you don't do anything with the hair from the Mangalitsa's. It's not like sheep hair. It's still just pig hair. It looks like sheep hair, but it's coarse like pig hair. Yeah. Zip up versus hoodie. You want to go ahead and get that out of the way before a bunch of people get on? It's only 667. I'm sorry. The people that bought zip ups, hoodies blew them out of the water.
That is so ugly. I've never seen you so competitive and ugly before. It's so unlike you.
You find me ugly.
You're being ugly. No, you're beautiful.
We are exhausted, guys. We have worked so hard. Hey, Jack.
Yeah, hoodies was 2/3 more.
Yeah,
It was a lot more. It
was a
wasn't
lot
even
more.
close. Zip ups.
we
lost
sold 3
horribly.
times as many hoodies as we did zip-ups, but
It was very disappointing. But I got my zip up, so it's all good.
yeah. And the people who love zip-ups love zip-ups, so I'm glad we were able to offer them a product that they enjoyed.
Touche.
Hey, Nora, what's up? Yeah, but Kimberly, didn't you get a hoodie too? I know you got a zip-up. No, you had a T-shirt too. You had the Real Cut Food Come Sturdy in the T-shirt. So yeah. So far, all the animals seem fine. I just went out. We went out and milked Anna and checked on. You okay? You need some water? Got a little tickle? But yeah, we just went out and checked on the animals, and they are bedded down. They have lots of straw and hay, which is really great. Yeah, I've been talking to Rebecca. Everything's going well. Whenever a pregnant mom is in early labor, I usually try not to put a lot of pressure and expectation on them because it can be a several-day process and it can be very, very exhausting whenever, everybody's excited and means well. But so I have 4 acres where we currently are. We also use part of the 3-acre property next door that Jeremiah's brother lives on. Awesome, Xavier. I'll get back to you soon. We've had a lot going on. Abraham, I haven't done the upside down tomato buckets, but I did one of those planters like that a long time ago, and it worked. River Rock Homestead. I'm so glad that was what you thought. I felt the same way. Jeremiah hasn't watched it yet.
I'm gonna watch it soon.
So I think that we're gonna. I'm gonna let some of our friends talk to you guys who are here. So it's really cool. And a few of our friends did come. We had a few couples here to spend the weekend. And they have all made YouTube videos. We actually haven't videoed a whole lot of the process this weekend.
We did, but it's for us.
Yeah, like we haven't.
We're doing like a reference video for
it.
our own personal reference later.
My lips are very chapped and windburnt from being outside. We were outside a lot yesterday, and it was extremely cold. It was,
Windy.
well below freezing and very windy. And my face was chapped too, but I was able to moisturize it and get it back. But by the end of the day, my lips have gone.
You grab some of that lard and just rub it on there. Yeah, it'd be good. Let me get some for you. I got a trunk over there somewhere.
No. The process, it's definitely very humbling. It's beautiful just to take responsibility for what you eat, I think is very powerful. It's heavy, it's a heavy process, but I do appreciate being able to take responsibility for our appetites. So bacon bomb. Wow, I work in a freezer and it was warmer in there than outside. That's pretty bad.
Yeah, we basically have unlimited fridge space right now. Bizzle, don't lose your mind. Don't lose your mind, buddy. Don't make me have to come down on you like
the dogs have had an interesting time because there's a lot of meat processing going on in here, and they're like, so much. Yeah, so we do have some friends here. Are y'all ready to talk to me? Y'all ready to see who's here?
You think I should send
Ooh, sugar grits. Do you have it
over?
yet? Should we have the ladies come over? I was thinking you could have the Hewn guys come sit down with you and answer some questions.
We can just start with that. That's fine.
Okay.
Since you're such a chatty Cathy
Do
today.
you guys want to hear from Hewn Farms? Would you like to sit down and chat with them?
Chatty Cathy.
The start of the course. Oh, let me touch on that first. The course starts Thursday. The last day to sign up for our gardening course is tomorrow. Now, don't fret. If you are not in a place to sign up for it right now, or you're not ready, you don't have the time or the capacity or whatever, we are going to be selling the content bundle after the course is live. So in April, you'll be able to buy that. So don't worry, you're not like missing out on your opportunity. But tomorrow is the last day
to
sign up to be in the
now,
live. To be in the live. It's on our website, rootsandrefuge.com, under the shop.
You'll see the course listed there, yeah.
So
My dad was. They lived in Kentucky though. They were very.
Y'all ready?
Sure, you can ask them.
Who's ready to come in? Guy, well, I think let's do the guys first, and then the girls will chat.
Because you know how, yeah, the girls will be real chatty, so we better get the guys in now.
All right. So
Come on, big guy.
Front row.
Yeah, come on. You guys come back.
Do you want me to do something with that?
Yeah.
Pigs for everyone.
Pigs. I didn't even notice that.
That's Justin's shirt.
It's fitting.
I love it.
It's
Do you
fitting.
want me to put them in a single layer?
How is everyone doing this evening?
Single
La
layer.
la 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 la. Sorry.
All right, guys. This is Doug.
La 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 la.
That's Doug Judy right there. And then his partner in crime, Andy.
Hello.
They keep those beards long because
Wait, is this real? Are we live?
this is live. This is
No,
happening.
it's not.
Sure
This
it is.
live, and you didn't warn us.
I told you.
This
See,
is live. Like for real?
You need to
Right
pay
now.
attention right now. Like I paid attention in all the other stuff we did today.
Yes, you did great. You did
I
great.
appreciate
You were
that.
perfect.
No, I wasn't perfect. None of us were perfect except Andy.
Thanks.
If it wasn't for that one thing, Doug, there was the one thing. You know what I'm talking about. Don't make me bring it up again.
I cut myself.
I know, but you didn't mean to. But I mean, I don't mean to get one question wrong on the test, but
Is this live for real?
it for real is live. You can't fix it. All right. So if y'all have questions for Doug and Andy, curious about anything, put it in caps. Well, I'll get the question to them because I don't think they can read that far away.
No,
they're,
we can't.
they're a lot older than us.
We're old, man. We're old.
Old.
How did you get into butchering? There's an all caps question.
Oh, good question.
Yeah.
We had pigs that needed to be butchered.
Yeah.
Doug was raising pigs, and we didn't have a livestock trailer.
Hmm.
And naively, we thought we could just take them into any butcher, sort of. And then what happened?
Yeah. Well, I didn't have a livestock truck. I brought them home in the back of an S10 pickup truck, a Ford Ranger pickup truck, and I had no way after they were full grown to haul them anywhere. So Andy suggested, well, let's just take it on ourselves. Let's try it. That was like 11 years ago. There weren't the resources available, that there are today to know how to do it well. So we had to screw up a lot for many years before we did it right.
We're good at screwing up.
What are you eating there?
I don't know. Really complex word to use.
So this is the sausage.
Uh-huh.
Casings from the pigs.
Okay, so this sausage right here. Okay.
Paprika?
This is rice. The casings that we salvaged from, or salvaged or
Yeah, harvested.
harvested from the pigs. It's a casing, which means it's an intestine. So I call that a salvage operation because, I mean, that's not really a harvesting. Like harvesting is like bacon. Like if you're going into the intestines to get something, that's a salvage operation. Like it can get real messy real
That's
quick.
fair. That's beautiful.
You know what I mean?
That's fair.
So we salvaged the casings, and then we stuffed it with which I'll tell you what, if you don't like the sight of blood, you might not.
Onions that were cooked in lard first.
Right, and that's all the
and
good stuff.
Then the
Well-
paprika, and then it was bound with
Right,
the blood that we.
right, which was very bright red. It was a little
Salvaged.
concerning. I'm not gonna lie. I was a little concerned. Oh yeah, it's delicious. But this doesn't look like that. So I'm saying is like they get past the part that's going to freak you out.
Yeah, it used to be bright red.
Yeah, it was like bright red, and I was like, I don't know, guys. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna eat that. But it is actually good,
It's really good.
very good.
It's really tasty. There's
Like
You said-
honestly,
you said
and I was
weeks ago,
right.
Weeks
It
ago,
does
there's
remind me.
No way I'm going to touch this.
Yeah, it's true, and it does remind me of what I said. It does remind me a little bit of boudin because it's
But
got
it's
the rice.
delicious, right?
And
Like
it's very good.
Yeah.
There's nothing about it that is gross.
No.
off-putting.
Nothing about it.
There's nothing
No,
about it
no
that
element
even
of
my kids would not. If I didn't tell them what was in it, they'd be like, "Oh,
Oh, they
this
would
is
devour
great."
it.
They would eat it, no problem.
Clean plate.
This is spreading the harvest. That's all this is. Extending the harvest.
So that's probably the most fascinating thing that we've done this weekend is the utilization of all the different parts, not just like a regular processing, but like
no waste.
as little waste as possible.
So not to put you on the spot, but be clear. How do you mean? What all have we used
Oh,
or
gosh.
utilized?
What did we eat last night?
Organs, all the organs.
More specific.
I don't know, you guys. You have fancy words for everything. I swear. I feel like we're in some kind of like
Organs.
language class. Where we're like speaking.
So
Is
these
it
are
buffering?
clay peanuts.
I'm gonna pull it up.
Yeah, it might be.
a good tilt.
No, you're good. It doesn't.
No, it's their same
There you
buffering
go.
again.
Get it.
Is the buffering your internet or?
Probably.
Hey, if anybody's on the Wi-Fi, turn it off real quick for the duration of this.
It's not me.
Our internet is sad.
I get it.
All right, I think it's coming back. Okay, so go over that one more time. The coal fat, is that what it's called?
It is
So
cool.
this is, yeah, these are wrapped in the coal fat.
Peanuts.
The Latin is the omentum.
Peanuts.
Okay, so what's inside the coal fat? It's got
Ground pork, liver,
variegated sage that we got from the garden.
Yep.
Okay, and the meat inside of that is
pork, ground pork,
ground
the
pork
pig,
from
and
the pork. Yeah,
diced liver.
diced liver,
There's onion,
onion,
and then a spice blend.
All
and then
wrapped in
spices
the
and stuff,
omentum.
and then
Yeah.
wrapped in the
In-
fancy word.
In
the
case
coal
you
fat.
don't know what the caul fat is, it's a specialized fat in the abdomen that looks like a spider's web, essentially.
Or
And
root
it's incredibly
system.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really pretty.
And it's basically a system of fat webbing, and it's
That
a
connects
sheet.
the stomach to the spleen.
It's incredibly beautiful, like
It
a
is, it's
placenta.
gorgeous.
So-
Yeah.
Splenic artery. It's all right. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Listen, these guys are like a barrel full of water, and the water represents knowledge. And so, like, you asking a question is like pouring a cup into the barrel, and then you just get all the overflow.
Yeah.
So it's like, what is this again? And it's like languages and big words, and and they just have all this knowledge. And you can't remember it all. You can try. I'm as much of a sponge as anybody, but there's no way I can't remember all the fancy words we're using.
You're a
Well,
sponge.
there's-
I'm not
languages-
insulting you. It's
No, no,
it's impressive. It's
There's
really impressive.
There's no way to describe this thing
This thing.
except to start with its Latin roots, but also all of its multinational or cultural relevance or utilizations. And so what we do our best to honor all the different cultures that do different things with every part. So whatever it is, we don't claim any nobility over the thing, but we recognize other people have done the thing really excellently for centuries. And so we try our best to do what they do because they did it the best. And so whether it's a dry cured or whole muscle or a salami or a fresh cut or a ground pork, all of these
I can't.
traditions come from a place.
Are you good with words?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So Jackie asked you a question. Can
Okay, I
you
didn't
butcher
see it.
hog yourself now?
Oh man, I can't wait.
Honestly,
Well, you butchered a lot of
I think I
the
probably
half.
could
I think you
because
could.
I honestly did most of the work, at least 50% of the work of the second half.
Well, we should do that tomorrow then.
Okay, let's start from scratch. Well, I mean, if you guys are going to get like we've got the cold weather, we've got for real, there really is a blizzard going on.
It's still coming down, and heavy.
So you feel good about the experience so far?
Yeah, it's awesome. I saw this question from someone from South Africa. Hi from South Africa, where we call the liver and caul fat skill pagies, e tini tortosis. Which
They wrap the liver in caul fat? I'm assuming?
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yep.
That's essentially what this is. This is the caul fat wrapped in liver and ground pork.
Which spices go into your version?
I see.
It's proprietary. No,
It's
just kidding.
proprietary.
It's it's really French. So in this one, are they talking about the pate, the
Yes.
crepinets? I'm assuming.
So
Yes.
it's ginger, coriander, allspice, cinnamon, clove.
Sarnice,
Not in this one. And then onion.
white
Yeah.
pepper,
Yeah, white pepper.
white wine.
Yes, Toika, this is art from Art and Brie, the channel.
The one and only.
The one and only, the legend, the fermenting professional.
He's half fermented right now.
Yeah, everything below the table.
I'm looking, I don't see one.
I did see.
So they had a question for you.
Okay,
guys.
yeah,
You just
scroll by when
specialize
we
in
were-
pigs, or do
hold
you
on.
do? Oh,
We got to do the super chat real quick. Real
Okay.
quick. Art,
Yeah,
will
let's
you
do the super
reopen the
chat.
fermenting course when I want to ferment with you? Ha ha ha.
we're going to reopen in August.
Thank you for the super chat.
Yeah, we will
Awesome.
open it in August.
Claire.
Once a year.
Yeah, once a year. So the professional fermenting class will reopen in August.
Which will be better timing for gardening harvest
That's what I was
for
gonna ask.
North America.
Yeah.
So.
They do butcher other animals besides pigs, which
Beef,
I don't know
chicken,
if they
rabbit.
know all the fancy words for all the stuff for those animals, but they definitely have a lot.
We
of
do
It's
because
both.
in Latin it's a cognate, but the reason that pigs kind of rule in this world is because beef fat, venison fat, chicken fat, goat fat, even sheep fat isn't near as
Awesome.
awesome as pig fat.
See, that's
pig
just the
fat,
basic
pig fat
simple word. It
wins.
works.
Like pig fat wins every
Yeah,
time.
it really does.
Even before you start talking about curing. So if you want to cure any kind of an animal meat, the fat of a pig only gets better in time, and it turns into this silky, cheesy, creamy finished product that you would never get from another animal. And so with other animals with the same result as you can with pigs. There are a few exceptions to that, but by and large, pigs win because of their fat.
Okay, we got another super chat from Wanda. Did anyone get sick from the experience? I don't think anyone got sick. There were definitely a few tears shed from it was as little traumatic as it could be. I don't think it could have been less traumatic, but it's there's still that transition from
Live animal
to food, and hard time with it. Like I always have a moment of weighing it anytime I harvest any animal. I mean, that's even a wild deer to just harvesting our chickens. But then also Toby, which was very surprising, being that he's the most animal sensitive one, actually did come out and experience a portion of the process, and he did get emotional. That was really good.
In front of us, he was like talking through it.
But his
Yeah.
emotions weren't about the actual killing of the animal. It was about like more of an existential thing where he was recognizing not long ago this animal was alive, and now it is no longer alive. And so as a young child, he was trying to process like what that means. It wasn't that anything was traumatic for him. It was more of his confronting, this is the cycle of life and death, and I'm experiencing it in real time. There was never a time that anyone was traumatized by the
actions of
death
the
of the animal or the work that we were performing. It was more of, okay, this is what death is.
Yeah.
That he was kind of confronting face to face.
We had it.
And he's had to confront it a few times. Like hit that particular pig's sibling was born with a birth defect and wasn't going to make it. And I had to handle, obviously that's obviously my job on the farm, which is I do it, but I don't actually enjoy that part at all. Like having to even like cull animals that, like I said, are suffering and, live to.
Because we've talked a lot about this week. I said this doesn't ever get less heavy.
Pause. This is buffering.
Buffering.
Just give it a second.
Okay.
Oh, they're saying buffering.
Oh, okay.
That could be their internet though too.
Yeah.
Not that many.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. It looks like it's back. All
Okay.
right, go ahead.
Like, I think it's very important to validate the fact that this is heavy. And I had a conversation, I've had this conversation with multiple people recently. I think it's incredibly important to acknowledge the fact that something dies for us to live. And even whenever you take a route of veganism or vegetarianism, all those crops are grown with methods that protect those plants from that which would come to eat them. The rabbits, the deer, the voles, all of those different things are trapped or poisoned. They're sprayed with things. Even organic crops are sprayed with stuff that kills the insects that would come and destroy those crops. The idea that nothing ever has to die for us to live, I think, is delusional. And I feel like it's a more responsible thing to come to grips with the weight of that and live in gratitude. Not true. That's the conversation Toby and I had when he was overwhelmed with emotion. Of course, he always has a choice to not be a part of it. We're not forcing our children to take part in this. But I explained to him, hey, this is the truth. When we go buy the meat at the grocery store, that pig had to die too, but it was not handled with care every single day of its life, handled with respect in the moment of its death, and then used to the fullest in its death out of honor and appreciation for what it is. And it is a heavy thing to take responsibility for your appetites. But Toby, when we had that conversation, I said, do you need to go inside? He goes, no, I think I want to stay out here. And he made a choice to continue taking part in it because he realized, okay, I could close my eyes to this and I could just go eat meat from the store, which he has and he likes to do. But instead he said, no, I want to take part in this. And he has tried the stuff. He tried the organ meat last night. He's tried the stuff. And I've been really proud of him in this process for recognizing the weight of it.
Yeah.
Angela, thank you for your super chat. That's awesome. And then we got another question. Okay, I've watched those guys butcher before. They do it the right way. Awesome craft and art. Will your videos resume next week? Missed y'all this week. Yeah, prepping for this, and then the weather coming. Hold on, I got a sneeze coming. I can feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah, has caused us down. We didn't get as much content out this week as we normally do. So yeah, we'll be back to regular videos because also we'll have snow. So I mean, that gets at least a couple of good videos.
Have we said Happy Valentine's Day yet?
Oh no, Happy Valentine's Day, guys!
This is what I'm getting from my kids on FaceTime.
Every morning.
I swear.
Look at it.
We can always trust on Art to go to that level. All right, say goodbye, Toby.
They're kissing
Hey, I'm
and hugging
going.
the phone.
Yeah, go on. Go play with your other children's.
That's good.
I love it. Pro move.
Someone asked, is it better to start all these cured meats you're showing during butchering or after the meat has hung for a bit? Do you have to hang mangas? We hung, 24 hours?
Yeah,
it's less than 24.
It's best to hang the pig for at least a day before you butcher it. Some of that has to do with rigor mortis, which happens, you may know, if you were to butcher a chicken at home for the first time. If you were to try to cook it that evening for dinner, you'd find it like chewy and rubbery. It hasn't actually, because rigor mortis is real. It's what creates like that crazy like roadkill you see on the side of the road when animals hit. It freezes in this awkward state. The rigor has to release enzymatically. So if you were to age an animal overnight, the rigor begins to release. So that's a step in that direction. But also, if it has a chance to chill and set up, it makes your butchering far easier, simpler, cleaner, neater, and it's less likely for the carcass to move with your knife. It makes all the butchering far more seamless, and it makes you feel like you know what you're doing instead of sloppy. Nobody wants a sloppy butcher.
Yeah.
So we may have learned today, or some of us may have learned today, that there is a point of over chilling.
14 is pretty cold.
Yeah, so like,
Yeah.
even though this was not ideal for people traveling in, and I mean, it's been a little sketch, like getting to and away from the farm. Like Ben and Andre actually missed half the day because they wanted to make sure they got home before it got bad. But it's been fantastic for chilling, putting stuff out on the back porch to get cold. Like, you know,
The whole world is a walk-in cooler.
Yeah,
right
I
now.
know. Like it's colder out there than it is in our freezers. So that's been nice.
I would love for Doug to talk about thriving and not really surviving.
Oh,
Yes,
man.
Read that to them,
Yeah.
Maya.
What is
Yeah.
this here?
I would
That's
like
a-
to talk about that.
Yeah.
I could say that. Change that. So we had this wonderful conversation that I'd love for him to share with you guys about what we're doing, because we just butchered our first mangalitsa. And I would say almost all the things we're doing with this are not just fill the whole foods. Like we are doing the foods that you savor.
Yeah,
and so
sure.
we had a fantastic conversation about this, and I'd love for you to share.
I want to just, she's asked us a couple of times. She said, what is the best breed to raise for meat? There are lots of ones you can raise for meat. The mangalitsa in particular, me and Jessica decided like we're going like as exotic, like we're curing a ton of stuff.
You're
like,
going whole hog.
we're not going like, we didn't do like pork chops and tenderloins and like ground sausage. We're doing like, go through the fancy words.
Sure.
Prosciutto,
Yeah.
capicola,
Yeah, capicola.
lonza,
Yeah, all that stuff.
pate,
I'm gonna learn that stuff
morcilla.
eventually, just not right now.
Yeah, those are super fancy. The conversation that Jess and I were having last night that she was referring to, once you get to a place in your homesteading journey where you realize, like, okay, we can do this. Like, we're established, we are balanced, we are stable. Everything in life isn't predictable, but we have control over the things that we desire to have control over. There's a point when you reach that plateau and you realize, well, my goodness, we're not surviving anymore. Like, surviving is past tense. We're now thriving. And there's a place where thriving is all the life-givingness that is abundance. And you can share it with those around you. And that is the difference between like putting pork or poultry or beef away so that you can feed your family, which is not nothing. I'm not downplaying that. But once you get to a place where those things are an assumption, you assume that you can put food away for you. Now what? How can we value add everything so that the bounty of our labor, the bounty of our work, the yield of this animal is now going to be experienced in its highest value added state that it can be. And for us, for Andy and I, that's why these fancy Italian or French words, it's only because they do it well. They do it the best. And so if it's a pancetta or prosciutto or capicola, you're enjoying a particular piece of that animal by the gram, by the sliver, by the slice. And if you can do that and savor it, then you can spread that wealth around. I mean, not just around, like one single cut of meat, which would have been a meal for a family, can now last weeks or months in the way of bounty. It's like a bottle of wine. Like, you're not going to drink a bottle of wine by yourself. You share it with others. Like, many, many people can enjoy your grapes that you grazed and crushed and fermented and bottled, and now everyone gets to sit at the table and enjoy it. It's like that, it's very hard to quantify, but when you get to that place, everything is value added, and you realize you are living a richness that you didn't see possible years ago. And now it's only possible, it's expected. And when you get to that place, all of a sudden, you feel like king. You feel like the only difference is you care enough to take it to this other level where now
No.
If you get to a place where this bounty is something that you can share with others, then you are challenging all kinds of presuppositions, both culturally as well as culinarily, and you're beginning to flip the script. We're not doing this thing because we're trying to survive. We're doing this thing because we care enough to make everything matter and challenge all the things that tell us no. Like, if you're homesteading, it's because you're trying to put food away for your family. You're trying to make sure that the apocalypse happen or the economy collapse or the grid go down, you've got food for your family. That's not what we're talking about.
No, this is like richness.
We're talking about like a richness that you can't afford it. Like, I don't care what your salary is. You can't afford this if you were to find it somewhere else. You put this away for your family and you savor and enjoy every single bite, which is just, it's hard to get your head around. But once you get there, you don't have to ask someone, am I there? You know you're there.
Yeah, I love it.
A lot of positive comments.
A lot of positive comments. One was, can this guy narrate my life? Good on you, apron man. Good job, beard. Bravo to Apron's wife.
My wife's amazing. She's better than I am.
They're a huge wealth of knowledge.
Why don't you tell people where they can connect with them?
Okay, y'all talk about, people are asking
And
about
aprons. A bunch of people like their aprons.
yeah, actually, I actually bought an apron for myself for processing future endeavors. It's not as cool as theirs because theirs is really broke in. I was gonna try and convince them to trade me. See if I could get the cool
There's a
one.
place for my knife. Here it is.
And now it's back.
Yeah. Yeah, so we offer other classes at our farm and other people's farms. Our website is handtunfarm.com. and we're on social media.
And you guys can communicate with them. I'm gonna need some more here, man.
Oh,
I don't
man.
want to stuff my
Oh,
face in front
Damn
of the
it.
YouTube
My
camera.
goodness.
Just when I give them Doug's
Oh, okay,
phone
we're just
number,
gonna
so
do
they can
it.
just call
All
him.
right, let's just do it.
Just text them.
That's red hot.
Yeah, text Doug. He'll get right back to you.
Have you guys tried making scrapple?
Yeah, it's a big deal where
Try to
we
start a
are,
fight.
and in Pennsylvania, we do make scrapple from time to time. It just depends on what we feel like doing.
I thought they were saying Scrabble. It's like, no, we don't usually do Scrabble.
No, we don't make our own board
Oh,
games.
I'm not a big word. They probably play Scrabble. Oh, porchetta.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, we
So was
we
that apron man speaks truth? There you go, Doug.
we Hewn Farm started this thing because we wanted to know how this has always been done, because it's almost lost. You guys know this. If you're listening right now, you know that this thing, this
That was
skill,
really good.
this trade, this art form of raising an animal and putting it away for your family, it's not done anymore. It used to be done like for millennia, like since the beginning of time. You would raise animals and put them away for yourself, and it isn't done anymore. We wanted to take it to another level where we realized everything could not only just be put away, but it could be made excellent. Every single part of the carcass, every part of the animal could be value added and made delicious. And that's what we aim to do, not only kill it humanely. The pig that we killed yesterday, their Mangalitsa, which they cared for 18 months. It never had a thought or a concern or a care or an anxiety. One day it was alive, and an instant later, lights out. We should all be so lucky, right? We should all be so lucky. I don't care how you feel about that. None of us will die as well as the pig did yesterday. We, as the farmers, we as the homesteaders, we should aim for that level of excellence and honor to the animal, right? So if that is where you start, then how do you move forward to honoring and respecting every cut of the animal so that it can become its best self, including morcilla, which is our favorite form of capturing the blood from the animal and turning in this really, really delicious Spanish
I'm telling you
dish.
guys, it will. it
This
is
guy
very
right
good.
here
Was not
hated the idea of morcilla.
And salvaged casings from the intestines. We had
Is
to
there-
salvage them.
Is there another case
a link.
Also,
right there in that bowl?
Is there one in
Faith
this bowl?
Prepper.
Oh, yes.
She said, "Hello, Miah from the Home Depot, mother and daughter.
Oh.
It was great to meet you." And also, I told Jessica about it, and I couldn't remember your names. I'm sorry, but she said you should have invited them out to the farm because you guys came all the way from Pine Bluff. So next time you're up in Conway, just shoot us a message, and if we're home, y'all can come by.
This is the morcilla or blood sausage we're eating. Here it is below, sliced and crisped in a frying pan.
So this is from the casing of the actual pig.
It's amazing and delicious, but it starts, well, it doesn't start like
Okay.
this, but
Game Nerd Mom Garden says, "Can you process blood for blood meal?"
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Of course.
I don't know how to do
Yeah,
that.
so if you have no interest in eating the blood, which I get, if that's your heritage or tradition or you feel like it's taboo, your
We show them
chickens
ladies,
will
yeah.
eat it, right? Your dogs will eat it. Your cats will eat it. You shouldn't let it just spill out onto the ground. You should still harvest it
For
and
something.
turn it into something else.
Yeah.
Or if you put it in a pump sprayer and spray your animals. I'm sorry, spray your trees so that the deer don't come and eat your fruit trees because they smell blood. The deer smell the blood. They stay away from your fruit trees. There are numerous reasons why you should harvest everything from the animal. If it's not for culinary reasons, there are other reasons.
Can you reintroduce everyone, Miah? Several people. just
Okay.
came in.
Obviously, you know who I am. This is Art from Art and Bree. This is Doug, or as I like to call him, Doug Judy. This is Andy, his boss.
Oh, wow. I don't claim that one.
I'm
Big
sorry,
guy.
his butchering dad. These guys have been friends for how long? They're like what, 6 months apart? You said, or something like that.
Something like this. We're old guys.
They're
right
not
now.
that old. They're in their 40s, early 40s.
Very old. We're old.
Oh man, my nana's actually. I can't even say that. She'd hit me. I was gonna say my nana was old, but honestly, she can do almost as much as we can. So, for everyone who doesn't know, Andy and Doug are with Hewn Farm. That's their business.
Out of Ohio.
We asked them to come here a year ago or longer. Actually, the initial conversation was 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was a while
3 years
We
ago.
met them in 2018.
Wow.
Yeah, 3 years ago. And that's honestly when we started the process of building towards this workshop.
Slow
A few
food.
weeks later, we got the Mangalitzes
Wait, because why?
because of one bite of prosciutto.
Yeah, right.
One bite of prosciutto at HOA. And I was like, okay, this is what we're doing. I told Jessica then, I said, we're doing this.
Change
'Cause
your
why would you
destiny
not?
forever.
It absolutely did. And because of that, it changed yours. Because you're here. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you care about something you do well enough that you share with somebody, and years later they're trying to bear the fruit of that thing, you're doing something right. And that's not bragging. Like, if you care enough, which I encourage you to do, care enough about what you do, that it's going to influence and affect the people around you. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be apples, it could be asparagus, it could be strawberries. Care enough about what you do that impacts the people around you. You will bear fruit forever.
I mean, people like one bite. Yes, let me just set the stage. Like, we're at this conference, walk past this tent. There's these guys in these cool leather aprons. They got knives and stuff, beards. Everything looks good. Everything looks legit. There's no garden talk, which, I'm not against garden talk, but I just hear it all the time. And I'm like, this is a chunk of meat. I said, okay.
Yeah.
And he's not talking about me.
Yeah, I mean, he's a fine looking
this fine
chunk of meat
piece of
also,
meat.
but I'm talking like this meat on this little stand thing. And it's like this whole this whole leg of salt cured meat I'd never had before in my whole life. And they whip out this knife, like, you ever had this before? I'm like, no. And I'm thinking they're gonna like cut me out like a bacon slice. You know what I'm saying? Something that's substantial. I mean, you got a whole chunk
Like a
there.
ham steak.
And no, and he's like, here. I was like, freaking cheapskates. But then I put it in my mouth and it literally just melted. And it was just like, it was like Thanos putting the power stone on, like the final stone on the Infinity Gauntlet, and like all the power just surges over him. And you're just like, oh, what was that? Like, I could do anything. And I was like,
That's
okay.
intense.
I literally walked. I was like, thanks, guys. Walked over to Jessica and said, we're doing this. Done. That was
That's awesome.
it. And the process started.
I didn't realize you
Beautiful.
were affected that
Yeah.
much.
So today I graduated.
He had like an encounter.
Today
Yeah, I
It's like
I
an existential crisis. I dig it.
Yeah.
I dig it.
today I graduated. I helped process
Yes, so
half
what did
the
you do
hog, and I
today?
got my own apron.
No. More than that. What did you do today? The
I'm
very
not sure.
last thing you did is you took the H-bone out of your own prosciutto.
Right.
Right? Like you
And
with a
shaped
knife in hand, you took the H-bone and shaped your own prosciutto.
So in 2
So
years,
that's 2 years
if you guys
from
come to my
now,
house, you're going to get that experience. Only better because I don't think that leg was a Mangalitsa.
yours
So this will actually be better.
Yours will be better.
Because the Mangalitsa fat is superior above all other fats.
Hey, jeez.
I'm just saying. I mean, it is what it is.
Mr. Confidence.
I know.
Thanos.
Hey, confidence is definitely something I have, but I'm not really Thanos. I'm more like a Tony Stark kind of guy. Like, I'm going to save you all.
I was just trying to move to Thanos.
No, someone did ask a question. They said, can you help any breed that may help me be able to consume pork again? Now, I may be wrong, but I thought that had more to do about what you were feeding.
What
it.
was that? What was that
That has
question?
a lot.
They have issues eating pork. She said, is there a particular breed that will help me be able to consume pork again?
Sure.
And my knowledge of that is more about what you're feeding
Yeah.
than it is about necessarily the breed.
Husbandry matters a lot. You
Right.
know,
Like,
we've
what
had
are
a-
the living conditions like? Like,
We've had a
parasite
number
loads,
of
all that
people
stuff.
in our sphere that have expressed to us that they couldn't eat pork until they found pigs that were raised on a farm that were living in natural life,
Non-factory farm.
non-factory farm. They lived a natural life. They ate forage or grass at a feed regimen that wasn't antibiotic or otherwise juiced up, and they were able to eat that pork. And the thing that we want to express to people is, if you don't raise pigs, that's okay. That's all right. Find people, and you want to eat it. Find people that do, that raise them well, and then support them. If you don't have people in your life or your world that raise pigs well, and you are encouraged to do so, I would encourage you to look for them. Find a breeder in your area. And when I say area, I mean 100, 200 mile radius. Bring those pigs home. You can do it. There are resources available today that were not even imaginable 10 years ago. You can start with pigs from scratch today with very little effort. It is not impossible. I raise my pigs on polywire. I put step-in posts in. I've got 10 pigs in the woods that are on 2 strands of polywire. They can get out anytime they want. Anytime they want, they can walk through those wires. But they don't. Why? Because they are where they want to be. They are where they want to be. They have water and they have food. They have one another. There's no reason for them to escape. It is so easy to raise pigs if you understand what pigs want. If you don't want to do that and you don't want to raise pigs, that's fine. Find someone that does. Find someone that support or want to support and do that. You're both winning. If you can support a pig farmer that's doing it well, they win and you win. Either way, there is a possibility for you to get your hands on excellent quality pork that you can't even imagine getting from the grocery store or the butcher shop.
I like the idea too. I'm a big fan of really small scale deep bedding, and there's a lot of good examples of that. But like a 12 by 12 deep bedding, if
That's
you have
similar
the
to what
bedding
Jess was
material,
doing.
if you have the
wood chips.
material
Yeah, you have to have a lot of carbon.
and you have the height to stack
be able
it
to
in,
stack it,
I think
right.
that's an excellent method. And you can do
Jessica
that
was
in your
impressed with
backyard.
that, and we're going to try and implement that on our next property.
Yeah.
So, question: is there a way to verify an animal has been humanely butchered if you can't do it yourself?
That's a tough one.
Also, Laura, thank you for your super chat. We
That's a good
appreciate
question, but you got to be there, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
a
almost
tough
like
one.
you have to be present.
Yeah. So there are several different slaughter methods, which we don't need to get into because it's kind of graphic, but depending on what state you're in, there's kind of a common denominator. If you take your
you.
animal
Rishon is the one
in
you were talking
to
about,
get
right?
killed somewhere, there's several different methods that are the commonly accepted method, and not all of them are excellent. If you can do it yourself, the best. Otherwise, it's a word of mouth thing. If you find out that there's the animal isn't stressed out, freaked out,
That's that blood and rice
anxiety
stuff.
loading, like take them there. Otherwise,
Just more for me.
it's kind of a coin toss, which is unfortunate, but that's the way it is. Like in the industry, you're at the liberty of whatever the industry does, wherever you're at.
Are you all making more of the
Mm.
sausage stuff? Because Jackson needs some.
Yeah, there's some gonna
Okay.
There's more and more.
Guys, someone asked if you're familiar with the Michon breed.
Yeah.
So that's actually what we've been talking about adding as our secondary
Yeah.
breed because
Yeah, he said
litter
they were
size
weird
and
as
size and
Yeah,
all
no.
that.
Yeah, they're real strange looking as far as
Yeah, they are. I
appearance.
mean, we love
their meat
the
is good.
oddballs.
I don't know anything about them.
Yeah.
Tell me the basics, because I know
Jessica
there's a lot of
knows a
people
lot
on here
about
who
it.
don't know anything.
I broke down a Michon a couple weeks ago, and it's a fine pig. I mean, it's funky looking. If you don't know what a Michon looks like, Google Michon.
It's big.
Bagel.
It is
Southeast Asia?
crazy.
What is
Yes,
Yeah.
it's an Asian
Yeah, it's
breed.
not like
That
a
almost
pig.
went extinct.
Yeah, it's not like a pig
It's
you
real
would
wrinkly,
otherwise
like
be familiar with. It's wild. It's like a
Indonesia.
it's like a what's the
think it was
breed of
China.
pig? Well,
Shar-Pei.
dog. A Shar-Pei. It's like a Shar-Pei dog. If a Shar-Pei were a
Yeah,
pig,
that is.
it's like that, only with like the swoop back and neck. It's really
It's
wild.
supposed to have really good mothering
Yeah, it's supposed to have
properties.
these really amazing properties, but in my personal experience,
Sorry,
it was
thank you.
really, really, really fat rich, which meant, and the person, the person that's interested in raising pigs, it's important that you know, depending on the breed that you choose, you're going to be paying for feed that's going to convert to food. So depending on what you want, if you want a pet, or you want lard, or you want pork, like all of those considerations that you need to take before you make these decisions. The Michon that I happened to process was a very, very fatty Michon. Not like American Guinea, Kuni, or Mangalitsa fatty, but really, really close. And it was very soft. Everything about it was soft, which is really nice. I know it's graphic, but that's really nice for like whole muscle curing if you want to make it into a prosciutto or a capicola or a pancetta. But if you want to just pork for your family, Michon may not be the best opportunity.
What? Someone asked, "What's your favorite breed to butcher?"
Jeez, I don't know. There's so many good ones.
Well,
Mangalitsa's.
Mangalitsa's.
Repeat the question, Maya.
The question was,
What's their favorite breed to butcher?
Well, I'll flip it. Is there a breed that you really hate to butcher? Because they're all unique, right? I mean, they all have their own benefits.
okay, it's worth noting that when we butcher an animal, a pig, at somebody's farm, we will only scald and scrape that pig. We will not skin that pig ever, because that skin is food. We will not dishonor that pig by skinning it and throwing all that skin to the compost pile. Because that is a reality, as it happens, a megalitza is, even though it's a really furry, hairy animal, like it's a curly hair all over it, a megalitza is actually very easy to scald and scrape, which means if you're going to scrape all the hair off of it, you can retrieve and save all of that skin and turn it into food, or convert it into cured meat, which is what we did here.
Oh yeah,
and it was perfect. So
All
like a
the cured
megalitza,
meat.
even though it's very hairy, it's very easy to slaughter and convert into cured meats. Most heritage breed pigs are wonderful. Like, we don't have a lot of prejudice for or against other breeds. Most breeds are crossbred. So you have like a GOS, a Gleschall spot, mixed with a Tamworth or a large black or a wattle, a red wattle, whatever it is. Those are crossbred pigs. We've had nothing but good experiences or positive experiences with those breeds. If there's a breed that we don't like, I don't even know that there is one. There is a time of year.
We've never done a potbelly, but those are raised for meat.
Yeah,
They're
even
fine.
then, I'm not worried about that. It's more of a time of year thing or an age thing where it's really hard to get them clean because you don't want a hairy pig at the butcher table. No one wants that.
I think you better grab that super chat.
Oh
yeah, super chat. Grab the super chat.
I'm grabbing it. Debbie Marley says, "I'm buying this round of drinks." He's got it. Don't worry. Miah, are you going to do a video of the processing, even if it's on a platform like Patreon? I don't think we are going to do release a video over the processing. We shot a lot of footage, and I'm going to get Art's footage and get Ben and Andrew's footage, and actually Jill and Nathan from Whispering Willow are here also for the class, and I'm going to get their footage to make a reference video for myself and for Ben and Jackson helped and Jessica for future processing. But I don't know. If we do, it won't be this one. If I do a video, it'll be me.
What
it'll
we
be
do
us
is
doing
so awesome. It's hard to convert.
I know. It's so much.
I agree with that.
And also, if I'm going to do that video, I want to be the star of the show,
I get that, man.
Yeah.
I get that.
We might do it at a later
he
date.
has a leather apron now. So
on a
it's like
platform.
step in the right
That's what I'm
direction.
saying. But I want my apron to be broken and
I get it,
awesome
man.
like
I
yours.
get it.
You know
I
what I
get
mean?
We were professionals already.
We pretty much are professionals. You're not mistaken. I'm just saying, if we do a video, it will be on a different platform. It will not be on the open YouTube channel. That's also true. We've made a commitment to our garden community that doesn't want a bunch of graphic stuff on our channel. So we don't shy away from the fact that we do this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to pretend like it's not a thing, but we also are not going to put it out
Showcase
there to showcase it. And I don't mean we showed the coal fat and stuff because that's not that big of a deal.
But did you think the whole process was graphic?
It's not. Graphics the best way I can think of it. Initially to describe it, because
for entry level people,
I'm just saying, or for people who don't
people that
consume
raise
meat,
animals,
right?
It's okay, this is how I want it done.
Right. It was the best possible way, but
there's
when you're taking it, when you're breaking it down, up till there's a certain point when it stops looking like an animal and just starts looking like what you're going to eat. You know what I'm saying? I've thawed some bacon out of the freezer. So that's not the issue. It's leading up to that. You know what I'm saying? The part that Toby had a hard time processing, I don't want to force that on anybody.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So, but again, we try and operate in a, mutually exist.
Yeah.
I can, there's value on what you guys
No, I get that 100%.
choose, and there's value
I get
on what
that
we
100%.
choose, and we can be in relationship and not have to agree. And we're not going to change what we're doing because you think it's bad, and I'm not going to tell you what to do because I don't agree with what you're doing. And that doesn't always work, but that's most of 90% of it. That's how it operates.
Yeah.
So I don't know that we'll do processing videos, but here's the other reason why I say that is there's lots of people in this niche, in this community, doing processing videos. If you really want to see the process, there's other people, even that were here today, that are going to do videos showing a lot more of it than we are going to.
Yeah.
Sure.
Go watch their videos. Art, Honestly, Jill and Nathan, Ben and Andrea. And so just go to that channel and watch it there. And honestly, that also is fine with me because it's helping promote our friends and they get some views. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Or
I'm
sign
not
up
like,
for a workshop with us.
right. And then they'll come out. So yes, we might do it in the future, but we're not going to post one after this experience
Sure.
for us.
But all
I
of our
found that-
friends made videos.
I told them
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I found that every single time I butchered animals, that it like peeled away a layer, I feel like, of insulation that we've created for ourselves. And the first time, it turned my stomach. The first time I was at a butchering, it turned my stomach.
In what way?
Like just sickening, like shock.
The gravitas of the thing.
Just shock that it was happening in front
the
of me.
life of an animal. And this very visceral experience of like,
Yeah.
you can turn this live thing into food.
That's the case, yes, but it's also just seeing something die deliberately. But then over time, that's actually softened a lot for me, and I've and the shock is gone. The heaviness, I feel like, is still there, but it's evolved over time. As I've been to more and more butcherings, probably 20 or something total.
Yeah.
So not to put you on the spot, Art, but I feel like you speak poetically enough
Mhm.
to articulate that.
Mhm.
So if you could explain what the difference is between the first couple times and the most recent times, what would you say the transition has been like for you? Like, why is it less traumatic or easier now to watch? Is it just experiential, or is it something else?
I don't know. That's hard to answer. I do believe that that a lot of it is that I never really fully made the connection, essentially. That like, here's the meat and here's the death, and I never really put it together. So when you see your first butchering, you're seeing that something that would normally, an animal dying would normally make me very sad, and I'm fairly sensitive to that. I hate to see an animal suffer. I hate it. Like, I'm the one who will go out and actually like put an animal down, like as fast as possible if it's suffering.
For sure.
So that will bring me to tears. And seeing that joined with my meat, initially, I think that just hadn't actually completely connected them and accepted that. And so through time, I think that I've said, okay, I eat meat. And I hate to see animals actually die and suffer, but just seeing that I'm not going to stop eating meat, and animals do die, but they don't have to suffer.
Right.
I don't know. That's just a
Right.
touching.
And so, like, for me, it's like every time I go through a phase of learning something in the butchering process of any animal, like knowing how to make it the least traumatic, stressful, and like no suffering.
Mhm.
Like, so, like, even in this process, like, I'm glad I didn't try and do this on my own at first.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel way more confident now, even with as fast as you had to, take the shot and all those things that had to move quick after that, after seeing it happen. Like, I don't like getting into situations where I don't know what to do next. Like, does that make sense? Or you're kind of just fumbling around, because that's when things
You're
can
taking
get
on a tremendous burden.
right. And that's when things can go south, right? And things like suffering can happen, and it's not efficient, and like you said, least traumatic. So I mean, for some, if you've never done this, like, I would highly recommend that you guys honestly have them out at some point if you're raising pigs.
Or you can go to their farm.
Or go to their farm if you're close or whatever. They do workshops there too. But I'm saying, seeing this process, having a coach through this whole thing.
Well, it's important now, especially after this, that the viewers understand the pig was never suffering. Like,
Exactly.
there was never an instant that the pig was
Absolutely.
suffering or scared or anxious or frightened
Or any of the other
coerced.
pigs.
No,
Like, it was all of a sudden like
It was very
living
chill,
its life
very
and then
calm.
lights out. Like, again, we should all be so lucky to be in that place. Biologically, and I'm speaking directly to people that have a hard time with that. Biologically, like a pig, any livestock for that matter, isn't actually intended by its own breed to live in perpetuity all of life happens in really cruel ways to that animal after its maturation. There isn't a life cycle of a livestock that looks like a geriatric situation where they're retiring and peace. Everything just begins to fall apart, and there's pain and suffering every day until it ends its life or someone else ends it for it. Our job as those that harvest the pig or harvest the beef or the lamb or whatever it is to make the thing as clean and as painless and as least invasive as imaginable, like, which is hard to talk about, really. I mean, it just is. But the natural world is not a healthy one.
Very
like
cool place.
red-tailed hawk flies out of the sky and lands on your chicken. They're not going to kill it humanely before eating it. Like they're going to dive into its
intense.
They're going to dive into its viscera and eat its guts while it's alive. You know, like it's a brutal reality. We hope to rise above all of that and make sure that the dispatching of this thing is instant and without pain, without suffering, without anxiety, without fear, without coercion, without anything other than the blink of an eye. There is no last bad day. There's no one bad day that the animal lived. It is over. And that's hard to talk about, but it's also a reality. If you raise animals, you want the best for your life and death of that animal. And we hope to honor that as much as we can.
All right, last question before we transition to let the girls do their whatever they want to talk about. Someone's been asking about, have you guys experienced boar taint to be common from intact pigs?
Yeah.
My experience would be,
We don't have experience.
well, with other animals that are intact, like bucks, for example, intact male bucks, like definitely. Their meat is way more gamey, strong, like that gamey, like musky scent.
Strong
like
boar.
does don't have that at all. So as far as pigs, we've always cut ours. So go ahead, Art.
Yeah. I will keep it brief. I've served an intact boar in the form of barbecue to like 150 people at a time, and then polled people and said, "How was that? Like honestly, how was it? I'm looking for information," and everyone loved it. So there's
It's ballsy. Get it?
yeah, it was.
God.
I was terrified, but it was.
Yeah, we've butchered intact boars, and from our experience, we haven't encountered boar taint. But we do have close friends that have.
We know that it's real. Like boar taint is real, but just because you have an intact boar,
Doesn't mean
meaning
that
it hasn't had its testicles removed and it's an adult, that does not mean that it's going to have taint. Boar taint is a genetic disposition, not like a one green eye. Pardon me. One green eye and one blue eye.
Getting choked up. Sorry.
It's an emotional thing.
It could be.
One green line, one blue line. I didn't know you cared so much.
I know. It chokes me up.
I like being able to roll your tongue.
Right.
Like it's real. Like it happens, but it's not common. In our experience, it's exceedingly uncommon.
It's like some people are stinky and some people aren't.
That's actually true. My dad is.
Yeah.
You're ready to trade?
Yeah, let's do this. All right,
I think we
tap
should.
out.
All right.
Got to do it. All right, guys, we're out.
Hey, ladies, y'all ready to chat?
Beards and butchers, we're out.
You need to cover that eggnog.
Can someone watch the blood sauce?
Yes.
Birds and butchers. All right, girl time.
Man, I think we ran over a little.
Let's get her in
That's
the middle.
fine. We weren't in a rush. We figured this would be
Okay,
a
you're in
long
the middle.
while.
Okay.
And Charlie.
Ooh. So somebody was asking, what is boar taint? Boar taint is where you butcher a hog that still is intact, meaning it still has its testicles. And because of the fact that like male animals put off a lot of hormones and pheromones and all the different stuff for breeding, they can have a more musky flavor, the fact that they are intact. But as Art was saying, y'all roasted like a whole hog that was intact.
Right.
And served it to a whole party of people, and no one complained.
It was American guinea hog, which some people say has a less likelihood of having boar taint. I don't know how true that is. But it's also, they say some people can smell and taste boar taint and some can't. I can.
Yeah.
So, because we have some pork in our freezer right now that we grew that were intact, and when I cook it, I smell it. The flavor isn't changed to me.
When Jeremiah shot a buck, I could smell it like a deer.
Yeah.
I could smell it when I cooked it.
And some of my kids can smell it when I cook it. But Arthur and some of the other kids and our guests never seem to be able to smell it. So I think it's really interesting.
VW Family Farm said she can too. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, this is my friend Brianna.
Hi.
She is Arthur's wife. So Art and Bree is their YouTube channel. If one of our moderators could throw the link up to that. And then back here is the lovely Jill, who, where is Nathan?
He's on the couch.
He like hid from this. So Jill is Whispering Willow Farm. Many of you know Jill. She and I are the ones, she's partnering with me on our gardening course, which is actually tomorrow is the last day to register for our gardening course. It's available on rootsandrefuge.com under the shop. It starts this Thursday. You'll get your first content drop. We're so excited to get that into your hands. If you're not able to enroll in the course right now, we are going to be offering that content bundle after it runs live. But if you want to get on the live run, you better sign up. So yeah, Art and Bree, Whispering Willow Farm, and Jill and Nathan and Arthur and Brianna were here with us this week for the butchering workshop, as well as VW Family Farm. And we had hand hewn out. We're snowed in.
Yeah.
Like, no, we're not going anywhere tomorrow.
We had an Airbnb actually and went and got our stuff and brought it over here.
Because really, you guys have butchered hogs before. You really wanted to come to learn the whole hog usage in the charcuterie.
Yeah, we are here to get better at the cuts, at the primals, and also to learn charcuterie. And so far, I have never really got to be super hands-on at a pig butchering.
Right.
Because I'm running it, I'm managing it, I'm taking care of people and children and food. So this actually has been incredible for me. Today especially was incredible because I've tried to learn cuts from speaking to butchers and from looking at YouTube videos and from looking at charts, and it's still really confusing to me. So today, having my hands on there, cutting it myself, and actually seeing in three-dimensionally, is it three-dimensionally? In real life, I have such a better understanding, and it's not just nice because we also butcher our own pork a lot of times. Sometimes we don't. And now I have a much better understanding of what to tell the butcher that I want.
This has been really cool for me doing this class because I've got two of my very dear friends here, and their husbands and us and Andrea being here earlier, like our very close friends here. This has been hosting for me,
yes,
which I love. This
she
is
has.
like hosting is something that I really love. But in me hosting, Ben and Jeremiah have been able, and by Ben, I don't mean little Ben, I mean Ben Turn, have been able to be really hands-on, and they're going to end up doing another one of our hogs, which of course I'll be able to be really hands-on on that. So like this has been offering this opportunity to learn up, and it's been really, really cool. I saw a comment I want to respond to it. Sutter Insanity said, "Hey Jess, November 05 moms are cheering you on." I have to share this with you guys. I have to share this with you guys. I was a part of two Facebook groups. One, they started on Baby Center, which was like,
that's fascinating.
You remember that? You remember Baby Center?
Oh,
Were
yeah.
you a part of Baby Center? I
never chatted on it, but I
her
know what
babies
you're
are too young to have been a part of Baby Center. Yeah, okay. So Baby Center was like this forum thing where you got on and you chatted with other moms. And I connected with a group of women who were pregnant in November of 2005. So now we have 15-year-olds, Jackson's group. And then another group of women who were pregnant in March of 2012. And those women have been some of the biggest cheerleaders in my life over the last 15 years. And still, I get messages from those two groups of women like, I love watching you. I love watching the success on your life. It has been the coolest thing that during those two groups of women. And of course, we were bumbling through figuring out motherhood and supporting each other in these online mommy groups. And I've met many of them now and like in person and stuff.
Oh, that's
But
so
I've
cool.
stayed in touch with many of them and stayed connected through social media. And I still regularly get messages from women out of those groups. So thank you so much.
That
That
is
blesses
so
my heart so
sweet.
much. Justin's show,
We haven't got to watch it yet.
it definitely was absolutely beautiful. I'm so excited.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I've watched the first episode. He sent it to me. I watched the first
Oh yeah, I
one, but
forgot. We've had it in our email for a few days, but
Well, you were traveling and everything.
yeah, I
so,
forgot
yeah.
to watch it because we were traveling and then busy.
We'll have to sit. Jeremiah hasn't watched it yet, so we'll have to sit down and watch it. So
The intro had me crying.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
I'm so proud of them. So I shared about it in my vlog yesterday, so I'm so proud. So we got 24 inches. The snow's still coming down here. We've probably got a few inches so far, but this is supposed to snow all through the night and through tomorrow. So we're actually going to get quite a bit.
You might have a house guest a little longer than you expected to.
We butchered one of our Mangalitzas, which is from the first litter that was born here in October of 2019. Let's see. How much snow do we have? We had a few inches. Let's see. So if anybody has any questions for us, make sure you put them in all caps.
Hey men, we're being told you guys need to use inside voices. You're being too loud.
In your experience, do men actually have that?
Not sure.
Jill, how are your baby
Time to learn a new
bunnies?
skill.
They're really good. They're growing. We have one of ours that is supposed to be having her babies any day now. So Nathan's actually been traveling back and forth to keep an eye.
He went back this morning.
Yeah.
Jill and Nathan are staying in our camper, actually.
Yeah.
And Arthur and Brianna are in the guest room downstairs tonight.
Yeah.
Even though they have an empty Airbnb.
You guys may be tired of butchering talk, but there was one thing I felt like the guys didn't hit on that really fascinates me about butchering. We've done chickens, beef, pork, I think venison. So I've seen this now in every animal that we've ever butchered. And if you've never butchered an animal, you may never have seen this. But the carcass of an animal is extremely clean. Before I had been a part of this in person, when I thought of killing animals, butchering animals, breaking them down, I thought how nasty and dirty it must be. You know, you get this picture of butchers in movies and they're covered in blood, and it's not like that. It is an exceptionally clean process. And I'm not talking because of bleach. I'm talking because the way animals are created is the insides of their bodies are beautiful. And yeah, so I just wanted to throw that tidbit out there to maybe break some stigma about the butchering process.
Yeah, it's not gross.
I mean, this was
It's
my
really not.
first butchering. And
Have you ever butchered like chickens or anything?
no,
Okay, so this is really,
yeah.
man, you dove in, deep in.
yes.
It's a big animal.
Yeah, so I was definitely one of the ones that like cried. Like that process is very hard to me. And I was telling Doug, like, I could not have imagined my first time being anything other than what it was. It was so
The community of this.
the community of it and just the appreciation of life was just so, and then how we used everything. It was just
Here,
made me feel really good.
here's my thing. Like, I was vegan. I was
Mhm,
vegetarian.
yeah.
I have done both of those
Mhm.
for extended periods of time. And for me, any of my children that say I do not, if they were to come to me and say, I really do not feel comfortable eating animals,
Yeah.
I would support them 100%. I would cook for them. I would teach them how to fuel their bodies in a way that was healthy.
Yes, for
Within
sure.
the confines of that, I'm completely okay with that.
Yeah.
What I'm not okay with is saying, I can't handle this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go buy my meat from somewhere where I don't have to look at it. That's where I draw the line and say, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to say, now, did I make my kids sit out there and watch it? Absolutely not. Did I make my kids take part in it? Absolutely not. However, they do take care of these animals. It is a matter of, for me, taking responsibility for our appetites. That's very important to me. And at the age appropriate level. And I was even a little protective with Toby being involved because he is very sensitive, but I was very proud of him. And for me, like Jill said, like it's heavy, but she's so glad it was within the confines of relationship. And I do think that it's important to take responsibility for what we choose to eat. And if you have a problem with it, I understand it is a hard thing. But to me, if you say, this is what I feel like my body needs, this is what I feel like I'm going to choose to eat, taking responsibility. And if you're not going to do it with yourself, supporting people to do it in a way that is honoring and respectful. I think that's important. Oh, Claire, thank you for the super chat. And that ice cream sounds absolutely amazing. Our hope is in the future, we've shared this. We have a desire to have at some point some sort of like education center, something like this. I mean, we have a really big dream. We'll see how it works out. I believe that it will work out. But I really envision inviting these guys into that space to teach this to people, because I think that it's really important. So let's see. Thank you so much, Debbie and Janine, for the super chats. Cool, Ruthie. About your green stalk, that's awesome. That is really awesome. Green. I actually put it in my blog tomorrow. Green stalk is having a sale right now. What is the difference in taste of different kinds of kale? It's really hard to say exactly what's different, but they do have different tastes. What would you say?
I would say dinosaur kale eaten raw, which is the kind that a lot of people use for kale chips because it's denser.
Yeah.
It's more like
it's very cabbagey.
Yeah, and it's more like a broad leaf instead of leaf with fingers. I'm sure there's technical terms for this. I don't know what they are. That's not one I would use for like a kale salad because it's just denser. It's a little tougher. I mean, and that's why a lot of people use that for kale chips. I have had it as kale salad, but I didn't love it. My favorite for kale salad is the super curly
yeah, that's what
kale. Do you remember the variety?
Like
that's
Vates, blue curled or Scotch?
Yeah.
Blue curled Scotch?
Yeah, blue curled Scotch. That's my favorite for kale salad. It's also really good for cooking. And it also just has a less strong flavor.
It's sweeter.
Yeah, and so it takes on the flavor kind of whatever dressing you're putting on it. And it has just it has a more tender texture even before the frost comes, because kale gets better in the cold. It gets sweeter, gets more tender. And then I don't really love red Russian kale personally. Some people love it. I don't love it. That's kind of one of the varieties that has more like fingers. I don't love that variety really at all. We do grow it though because it's pretty and Arthur likes it. But we usually cook hash and put that in soups and freeze that. That's kind of what we do with that one. So I hope that answers your question a little bit. I feel like red Russian has a very strong flavor.
Someone asked me where Daniel is these days. He's actually going to be visiting us pretty soon for his birthday. He's doing well. Jill, also several people asked about your shirt.
It came from Nature Supply Company.
Yep. Yeah, my green stalk code is ROOTS10, ROOTS10. And that gets you an additional discount, which they do allow you to compound on their sales, which they have running through tomorrow. How do you manage the homestead and family? Sometimes not well.
I just have felt like
I'm gonna run to the restaurant. Yeah, do this because you're great at this question.
For me, it's first of all not doing more than I can handle. So that may mean pulling back on things, selling animals, having a smaller garden, which can kind of be really difficult because you just want all the things. But if you're, it's better to just go ahead and make the decision to do the wise thing than to do it all. But once you have things where you can manage them, I think allowing your children to just do it all with you. My kids can milk with me. They have chores. They can be in the garden with us. Yeah, and also not beating yourself up. Nothing in our farm is perfect. We do things to the level that we can handle. And I think we used to feel really guilty about that because we weren't doing everything perfectly. Because we thought in order for it to be successful, it had to be perfect. But it really doesn't. it still can be done well, but not perfectly. And also realizing what methods work for our family. So we, in certain seasons, don't have time to rotate animals every day. So we have worked methods into our life in those seasons where we don't have to. We also do not move our chickens. We have free range chickens, and that works best for us for many, many reasons. One being that like we don't have time to move chickens every day. We just don't. But the other being that we have a ton of ticks. When we first moved to our farm, we would walk outside and come in with 3 or 4 ticks on us every single time. And now we very rarely find ticks. And so that's one reason we free range. People say, oh, that's wasting, part of your chicken's worth because they're not tilling your garden or fertilizing your pasture. But that's not what works for us. Like, we don't want to get Lyme's disease or Rocky Mountain spotted fever. So we use our chickens in the way that works for our family. So I really think that some of the ideology around farming sometimes puts farming in a box or homesteading in a box. And then when you can't meet those demands, you think you're a failure. But instead, figuring out the methods and ideologies that actually work for your family, and that can change, that's flexible, is what really everyone should be doing. What's working for your family, So I feel like that's a huge part of how I manage our farm and our children. I hope that helps. I could answer this question on so many levels, but that's the level I'm going to answer it on today.
Everyone has to do what works best for them. Their channels are Art and Bree. This is Brianna. And back here is Jill, which is Whispering Willow Farm. Now, I met Brianna through YouTube.
No, through Instagram.
Through Instagram before I had YouTube. That's right.
Yeah.
We met in person after I started my YouTube channel, but not much after it. It was still pretty small.
I don't even think I knew you had a YouTube channel when I first started to talk to you on Instagram.
Yeah. So we met through Instagram. So that's been like 4 years ago.
I invited you to, you said on Instagram you were going to HOA. And I was like, maybe she'll come stay with us.
And we did. We went and stayed.
I was
with them,
like,
which
would
was really
you
cool.
maybe want to swing by and stay the night with my family? And you were
Which
like,
is really wild
yeah.
because we met the Hewn guys on that same weekend trip.
Oh.
And so here we are. But Brianna and I are very good friends, and that's been over the process of a few years. And I actually knew Jill. Jill lives locally, and we met before I did YouTube as well. So climate change would be. I have learned, and this is something that Joel Salatin said that I decided to really take to heart, because our alpacas had a really hard time with the transition from Ohio to here. And Joel Salatin said that it is best when you can to transport animals vertically across the map rather than horizontally, because changing climates to that degree can be really hard on them. Now, I think the Mangalitas would probably be okay, but they might not. And it's kind of like there are probably breeders who are closer to your climate. I mean, like moving Mangalitas from the southern United States to Canada would probably.
They say you're not supposed to move animals north to south, south to north. You can move east to west.
Yeah. And I mean, as much as I'd love to be able, I'm glad to sell animals, which we still do have a few cut male piglets for sale. So like feeder pigs, essentially. But I would be hesitant just because I don't think that would be what would be best for the animal or what would be best for you buying an animal. I mean, I think it would be better. There is a Facebook group called Mangalika. What is it? Mangalika. There's something else they put it on in the other, like, it's Mangalika.
Oh, I don't know.
Something, it's called Mangalita / Mangalika, I think is what it is. But anyway, because people call these another name also, but we call them Mangalita in English, but they're also called another name. But there's a Facebook group and there's a lot of breeders on there. I would suggest you probably find somebody more within your region, just because I think it'd be easier on the animal.
I am sure there are people that do move animals north to south, south to north. So you would just need to look into how do they do that successfully without overstressing the animal. It's just kind of a guideline. Like typically you're not going to do that, but I'm sure there's people that do that.
How do you go about selling livestock?
So there are different levels of livestock when you're selling them. Okay, you've got registered and unregistered. You've got demand. Demand is a huge thing. You've got male versus female. You've got, is this an eating animal or a dairy animal? So first you take all that into consideration and you will learn the ropes. I cannot speak to how breeders sell. I can speak to how I've bought from breeders. Because I'm not a breeder. I also don't register my animals. And the reason, even though I think registration is very valuable, and I also think breeding is very valuable, that's not what I want to do. I don't want to keep up with registration. I just want to provide food for my family and for my community on some level. So the way I sell animals is usually word of mouth. Because I've created such a community, I just know who to go to and say, hey, I've got some goats for sale, or hey, I'm looking for some feeder pigs. I just know because I have created a community, whether through Facebook or just through local groups that I, interact with a little bit. So it's pretty easy for me to sell my animals, whether it be a heifer calf or baby goats. Those are pretty much the only things I sell because I just know who to tell. But the other ways that people do this on this level, this non-registered, non-breeder level, is through Craigslist. Because it's banned on Facebook, a lot of times you can't sell, though people get around that pretty easily by saying up for offer, DM me if interested. So there'll be like animal groups where you're not supposed to sell animals, but that's how people get around that. Is just they don't say for sale. But yeah, so those are other ways. But typically for me, it's like word of mouth.
Yeah. What about you?
Selling animals?
Buying or selling animals?
Yeah, so we've never sold animals. This is all I know. A lot of people are like, speak up. I've seen that comment. I'm learning. We have not had, we've had chickens and stuff. Like meat rabbits is a very.
There, leave it. Sorry. There's meat.
Meat rabbits are a very new thing to me, and so this is all really, really new. We've sourced out our meat from local farmers, which is what we do. We just recently bought a half a cow, and a hog. But we've personally never sold any animals like that, and we just buy it out and stuff. But this is all just really new to me as far as the whole butchering and stuff like that.
Yeah, for us, it's a little different now because we have the YouTube platform. Like, for instance, with selling the Mangalitzas, like Greenwich Homestead is one of my moderators. Like, they drove down from Missouri and actually spent, came and had lunch at our house and took some Mangalitzas home, and, had lunch at our house and took some Mangalitzas home. And we just had someone pick up 4 piglets yesterday. That's a dear friend of ours that we've known for years. And so it is that built network. But Facebook they've come down really hard on selling animals in the last few years, but you can still find farm-centered Facebook pages that are generally to your region, where, like, for instance, like I'm in a few goat groups, and they end up, like, you can get...
Say, for your consideration.
Yeah, or...
DM if interested.
Yeah, and you just can't post a blatant ad, but you can say, I have a buck looking to meet some new ladies, like, if you'd like information, message me. So there still is a lot of that goes on. And then also Craigslist, just be cautious, ask a lot of questions. If you ever show up to pick up an animal and you feel very uncomfortable about the conditions they're being kept in, or you feel like that animal is not well, walk away, man. You don't have to buy it. If you're there and you feel like that animal is sick, you can walk away. It's disappointing, but you can do that. But yeah, the word of mouth thing and building local networks is probably the most valuable thing, and you're just going to do that over experience. Yeah.
So it just takes time.
That's with anything, not even me, selling plants or vegetables or whatever.
You can access the chat later when you watch the replay. Just put show chat and you can watch it.
What is your favorite downtime activity for a homesteading wife? Either homesteading by myself like being in my garden alone.
Yeah.
Is basically one of my all-time favorites. But I like to read.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Reading with a good cup of tea or a nice glass of wine or a treat is basically heaven to me.
Yeah.
Besides being in my garden.
What's your favorite?
Or like
downtime
sitting in the barn
activity?
with my animals.
Downtime.
Alone.
Jill's not good at downtime.
I'm not. I do prefer to work out without taking the children. So like I like to CrossFit. And I just recently started that back up again, like going to the gym. And that is something that I do for me. I like it. It's my only time. But yeah, I can't rest well at all.
Check out this beautiful nesting box for $35. Comes with chicken. That's hilarious.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Thank you, Tanya. I saw another super chat. Thank you, Big Breakfast. For me, my favorite downtime. I actually do also really love the garden. Like I know that is a homesteading activity, but when I get out and just uninterrupted, like put in a podcast or put in some music, worship music, and get out in my garden and just really get into it, that's probably my favorite thing to do. I also enjoy reading, but for me, a lot of times, because the thing is, a lot of times I'm shooting videos in my garden, which obviously I'm not listening to something at that point, but like listening to an audiobook that I'm really into while I'm gardening. Oh, there's nothing else in the world that I would rather be doing as far as like a downtime activity.
Someone asked me the other day though on Instagram, and I said, because I couldn't think of anything, and I'm like, I buy pottery pretty well.
Buy pottery, yeah, I do. And I have to be
fun.
I have to be careful
activity.
not to do that.
I just want to address this. Someone asked me about deer. They were saying they kind of live in our area. We have a huge deer problem where we live. It's not always a problem, but it's a problem for a lot of reasons, not just because of our orchard and our garden, but because they drop a lot of ticks. So I don't know. Deer are a huge, honestly, nuisance where we live. There's too many. They're overpopulated. And the only thing that we have found that helps are really good fences, which they can still jump. I mean, ours are pretty high and very sturdy. If they really want to, they can jump over them. But a really good dog. And honestly, we probably need another dog. We used to have 2 dogs, but we also have coyotes. So she got lured away by the coyotes, which was really devastating. So now we still have 1 dog, Shep, who we love to death. But he really needs a partner.
Yeah.
So, but we've just not really been in a position to train a dog and take care, a puppy. Like puppies are just so much work. So, yeah, a good dog and a good fence. That is the only thing we've found that really keeps deer out. So.
The hoodie was the winner in the contest between Zip Up and Hoodie by quite a lot, actually. Jeremiah, when this goes on to replay, you can watch it. We addressed it at the beginning of this video. And
someone asked, can you raise a pig on a 5-acre lot? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Forever, pigs were raised in a tiny little sty, the size of a small stall. Obviously, a lot of people don't want to raise pigs that way. But the point is you can raise pigs however works for you and your ethics and your ideology and your space. Now, there's a lot of different ways to do that. You can do a small covered area where you're putting in wood chips every day. You can do rotational where you rotate them through pasture. You could do wooded, what do they call it? Forest raised pork, which that's the way we're headed. Because right now what we do, we've tried pasture raised pork and they just, even the ones that aren't supposed to, still tear up our pasture. We don't have enough grass to sacrifice that. So we currently raise our pigs in a small paddock. It's a very comfortable paddock, but it's a small paddock. Or sometimes we raise them in a covered area, like in the winter, so that they make compost for us and till it up. We've done both of those. Well, we've done all 3 of those. Our end goal is forest raised pork, but these things take time. We need a huge perimeter fence to do that. But 5 acres is plenty to raise you some pork.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're here on 4.
Yeah.
We're raising ours.
Alpacas.
Well, I think we're going to wrap this up because we are about to start stuffing some sausages and doing some stuff that's going to be kind of loud. But thank you guys for hanging out with us tonight. Remember, Jill and I are doing our course. It launches this Thursday. Tomorrow is the last day to register. It's at rootsandrefuge.com underneath the shop tab. If you want to go through that course live with us, the first content drop will be sent out to the emails where you were registered on Thursday. We're so excited to get that in your hands. Somebody asked about a podcast. Right now, I do not have a published podcast, but Jill and I have been recording podcasts for the course. So it's going to be exclusive course content, and they're very good.
Yeah.
But I am actually working on a podcast that'll be out in the future. I actually may have you record something with me while you're here.
I would love
That would
that.
be really fun.
Can I answer one last question?
Yes, please do.
Sorry to interrupt. I want to answer one last question because I just think it's important to address it. Someone asked, what is the best butchering age for pigs? Every breed is very different. Some have been genetically not like altered like GMOs, but just bred to grow very fast. Some haven't. Heritage breeds typically grow very slow. So in each breed will have, and this is a great thing to ask breeders. These are the questions that breeders know. And that's why one reason why breeders are just incredible is because they know these things. And also like actual farmers, great people to ask questions, because there comes a time when that pig is actually not cost effective anymore. You've fed them as much as you need to feed them. They're not really going to grow much more. And now you're just pouring feed into them when it's time that they can be butchered. You can also butcher them too early unless you have a specific purpose for doing that. So really what you need to do is research breeds and just figure out what you want to try. We've grown like 4 or 5 different breeds of pigs, and we're actually on a new one right now, old spots, and people say, do you like them? Well, so far we do, but we need to do the whole process and honestly eat the meat before we can tell you if we love them or not.
Jess had asked me that because I was on his blog whenever we were out there.
Yeah.
And he said, do you like the Mangalitas? And I was like, well, we're processing our first one next weekend. He's like, oh, does that mean you just, I'm like, oh, they're great so far, but I can't really tell you if I want to keep raising them until we've had them.
Yeah.
And of course, we're raising these for a very specific purpose.
Exactly. So I have a breed that, say like the world was, the economy was falling apart. There's a very specific breed of pig I would want, and that is a guinea hog. But there are reasons I don't love guinea hogs. And one of them is their bacon's not that great. And you guys, pork and bacon, now you can still get bacon from them, but bacon, guys. So now we're going old spots because that's kind of a middle ground between production and heritage. And I guess they are a heritage breed, but they're just still more production than guinea hogs, and they grow a lot faster. I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic. The point is, there's so many reasons why you want the kind of pig you want. So you just got to do the research and start. Yeah. And then you'll figure it out over years.
Yeah. I keep getting a super chat asking about Justin Rhodes eating hot dogs. I don't know, bro. You're just going to have to ask Justin if you want to know how many hot dogs he's eaten in his life. And for those of you wondering what my friend's channels are, Brianna, Art, and Bree is their channel. Jill back here is Whispering Willow Farm. Definitely check both of them out. They have both done videos of this weekend, as well as VW Family Farm. I don't know if they're still on here, but they had to go home early to get home before they got snowed in at our house. Everybody else is just staying here. We're having a massive sleepover because we're snowed in. Like, it's coming down, and it's still coming. But yeah, definitely check out their channels, as well as VW Family Farm. I'm going to be linking those in my blog tomorrow as well, because they've been covering everything while I've been cooking. I haven't made a lot of videos. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with us tonight. We bless you guys. Until next time.
You have been a great hostess.